Good morning, everyone, and welcome to a regular meeting of a panel of utility commissioners and staff of the Public Utilities Regulatory Authority held today, Wednesday, May 18th at 10 a.m. by remote teleconference. My name is Chairman Marissa Gillette, and I'm joined virtually today by my colleagues, the Vice Chairman Jack Pekoski and Commissioner Michael Karen. We have a regular calendar and a consent calendar in front of us today. We will turn first to our regular calendar. The first item on today's agenda is docket number 210728, OCC's request to PURA to open a docket regarding the PEG access consolidation in Norwich and Old Line. So I will present the decision for the panel's consideration. On July 30th, 2021, the Office of Consumer Counsel filed a petition pursuant to section 16-331A subsection C of the General Statutes of Connecticut, in which they requested that PURA open a contested proceeding regarding Comcast of Connecticut's request to consolidate two public educational and governmental access facilities, also known as PEG studios. Specifically, those studios are located in Norwich and Old Line. After the proceeding, the authority finds that the consolidation of the Norwich and Old Line PEG access facilities will provide adequate and meaningful access to the communities in both franchise areas. So in support of this finding, the authority conducted a proceeding in this matter after delegating the matter to the authority's Office of Education Outreach and Enforcement, also known as EOE. EOE, on behalf of the authority, issued a notice of request for written comments, also reviewed and admitted evidence into the record. While a hearing was offered, no request for a hearing was received and thus none was held. A proposed final decision in this matter was issued on May 2nd. There was an opportunity to submit written exceptions and oral argument. However, no oral argument was requested and none was held. The authority did receive some public comment in this matter, which is summarized in today's decision. And we also turn to the general statutes to govern the legal analysis. As I mentioned, pursuant to Connecticut General Statute 16-331A, which governs the authority's review of this matter, that section states if a community-based nonprofit organization in a franchise area desires to assume responsibility for community access operations, it shall be granted intervenor status in a franchise proceeding that is held pursuant to this section. The statute also requires that the authority hold a proceeding investigating a proposed consolidation if the Office of Consumer Counsel petitions us to do so, which was the case here. After reviewing the public comment in this matter and the evidence that was submitted into the record and noticed into the record, the authority concludes that pursuant to both our regulations and the statute, that the Norwich PEG access facility will provide meaningful community access to the subscribers in both service territories, those being Norwich and Old Line, after considering the evidence in the record. Therefore, the authority authorizes the consolidation of Old Line and Norwich PEG access facilities as proposed in the proposed consolidation and is further clarified in the correspondence submitted into this record. So with that, I would recommend the decision for the panel's consideration.
I move adoption, Madam Chairman.
Second, Madam Chairman.
Thank you. The decision has been regularly moved and seconded. If there are no questions or comments, I would ask Mr. Bumpkin to please take the roll.
Chairman Gillette,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Pekoski,
Yes.
Commissioner Karen,
Yes.
Thank you. The decision has been adopted. We'll turn to the second item on today's regular calendar, docket number 220201. Here is annual reconciliation of the conservation adjustment mechanisms filed by the Connecticut Light and Power Company, the United Illuminating Company, Connecticut Natural Gas Corporation, the Southern Connecticut Gas Company, and Yankee Gas Services Company. We'll turn to our staff, Mr. Joel Anastasio, to present the decision for the panel's consideration this morning, please.
Yes, hello and good morning. Thank you, Madam Chair, Vice Chair Bukowski, and Commissioner Karen. This decision includes the authority's approval of the Conservation Adjustment Mechanism, the CAM for the EDCs, Eversource and UI, and the LDCs, which is our gas utility, Southern Connecticut Gas, Connecticut Natural Gas, and Yankee. Further, the decision encompasses the reconciliation of actual revenues and expenses for 2021 and to ensure sufficient continued funding of the 2022 Conservation and Load Management Plan budget. Pursuant to 16-245M subsection D of the General Statutes of Connecticut, the EDCs, in coordination with the LDCs, submit a 3-year Conservation and Load Management Plan to the Energy Efficiency Board. The Energy Efficiency Board then approves the plan before transmitting them to the Commissioner of the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection, also known as DEEP, for this approval. Subsequently, in an uncontested proceeding, the DEEP Commissioner may approve, modify, or reject the multi-year Conservation and Load Management Plan submitted by the EDCs and LDCs. This year's Conservation and Load Management Plan was approved by DEEP with modifications and conditions on April 12, 2022. Accordingly, the authority is tasked with ensuring that the balance of revenues required to fund the Conservation and Load Management Plan is provided through a fully reconciling CAM of not more than 6 mils per kilowatt hour of electricity sold to EDCs and use customers, and not more than the equivalent of 4 6/10 cents per 100 cubic feet of gas sold to the LDCs and use customers. On February 1st, 2022, the EDCs and LDCs separately submitted their CAM reconciliation filings for 2022 and proposed 2022 budget to the authority for approval. Each company provided an exhibit that reconciles monthly CAM revenues and cash proceeds from all sources and energy efficiency expenses. The exhibits also calculate interest on under and over balances, over recovered balances for the period of January 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2021. The authority reviewed the proposed reconciliation for 2021 and the CAM factors in each of the company's filings and finds the proposed CAM factors are calculated to produce revenues sufficient to meet the budget levels that were proposed by the companies for 2022. A proposed final decision was then issued on May 4th, 2022. All participants were provided an opportunity to file written exceptions to the proposed final decision. All participants submitted letters in lieu of written exceptions, and none of the participants requested any oral arguments. The authority finds that the proposed CAM factors do not exceed the maximum rates in Connecticut General Statute, Section 16-245M, subsection D. Therefore, the authority approves the proposed CAM factors. The CAM factors for the EDCs and the LDC shall be effective for the period March 1st, 2022 through February 28th, 2023, subject to the annual reconciliation process. Finally, I recommend adoption of the final decision to the panel and thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, sir. Is there a motion?
Move adoption, Madam Chairman.
Second.
Thank you. The decision has been regularly moved and seconded. If there are no questions or comments, I would ask Mr. Bumpin to please take the roll.
Chairman Gillette,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Bukowski,
Yes.
Commissioner Karen,
Yes.
Thank you. The decision has been adopted. We will turn next to our consent calendar for today. There are 5 items on today's consent calendar. Is there a motion?
Madam Chairman, I would so move the motion to adopt today's consent calendar.
I'll second it.
Thank you. The consent calendar has been regularly moved and seconded. Mr. Bumpin, please take the roll.
Chairman Gillette,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Bukowski,
Yes.
Commissioner Karen,
Yes.
Thank you. The consent calendar has been adopted. That brings us to the end of today's regular meeting agenda. Before we adjourn, I just remind folks there is no regular meeting next Wednesday, May 25th. The next regular meeting of the authority will be held on Wednesday, June 1st at 10 a.m. by remote teleconference. With that, we have reached the end of our agenda and we will adjourn. Wish everyone a good rest of the day. Thank you.